Hey guys, Legend of Zach 177 here, and today I'm going to show you guys a little bit about high stat armor focusing, where to find and how to obtain this type of armor, as well as getting it with the stats that you like, or at least as close to. Obviously, in order to optimize your builds for the in-game content, you want to try and have as many 100 stats or close to 100 stats as possible. So today we're going to kind of review the different stats, how they work, how they're grouped, and how to focus this. First things first, let's kind of take a look at the base stats. We have mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and strength. These stats are grouped in pairs of 3 in top and bottom, meaning mobility, resilience, and recovery are grouped together. Discipline, intellect, and strength are grouped together. When you are getting higher stat gear, you will have a high spike in both of these sections, while everything else will generally remain mid to low. So, one of the things to look at is going to be using your Ghost mod to focus the main stat that you're looking for. What that means is if you're looking for 100 stats in mobility, recovery, and discipline, you're going to want to focus those. And then as a secondary, your second highest spike will be down in the discipline, intellect, and strength categories. If you look at some of my gear, you'll see that each of them have a high spike, and then the next highest is in that upper 3 or bottom 3. All of that is done through the focusing using the Ghost. If you look at your Ghost, you can actually focus each of these stats from discipline, intellect, mobility, recovery, resilience, and strength, thus allowing you to select which stat will be guaranteed to be higher than a 10 stat. This usually makes it the highest possible stat on the armor, but it's not always guaranteed. All right, so let's take a look at some of the places to earn this armor. First and foremost, some of the easiest places to go are going to be the Pit of Heresy. The Zulamak boss fight at the end of Pit of Heresy is going to give you a 2-stat high roll armor, meaning that 2 of your stats are going to be pretty high, guaranteed out of this as long as you're getting an armor drop from the boss fight. Second, Dares of Eternity. Dares of Eternity is a good place, as long as you're doing it on Legend difficulty, which isn't too hard with a fire team, because it actually tells you what you're going to come up against. It gives you your surges, and as long as you know how to obtain Star Horse's favor, you kind of have infinite heavy ammo for most of this. So most of these runs are pretty much a breeze as long as you've got a decent team. Definitely a good spot to go check out to try and get some high stat armor. Next up, we have the Master Nightmare Hunts. You can actually do this on anything as low as Hero to get high stat armor, but it rewards high stat cryosniving armor. I butchered that. Well, whatever. But that's where you can get some high stat armor as well. Next up, we have Witch Queen campaign missions. If you do the weekly campaign missions for the Witch Queen, you can go back and get high stat Veritas armor. Each of the expansions is going to have the ability to earn high stat armor from replayable missions. The same can be said for Neomuna. If you do the weekly missions, generally the armor that drops from the mission is going to be high stat. The campaign currently will give you Pinnacle as well, so also a good place if you're not at max light. The raids are another great source of high stat armor, Root of Nightmares being the newest one. You're guaranteed to get 4 Pinnacle drops out of the raid. You can also do the weekly rotator, which this week happens to be King's Fall. Each of these raids generally will drop 61 or higher stat rolled armor. Not a guarantee. If you're a PvP player, Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris are great spaces to go get them. Most of these armors are going to drop at Pinnacle for you once you earn them. And most Pinnacle drops are going to be higher stat rolls. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stats on my armor here and kind of how to improve them. One of the other things to look at is when you can farm out the Artifice armor, you get an added +3 to any of your stat slots per piece of Artifice. So if you run 4 pieces of Artifice armor, you're going to go ahead and have an extra +12 in any or divided amongst any of the stats that you need. The other thing you need to know about are the fonts. Currently, I'm running a Font of Restoration because my recovery is only 29. But with Font of Restoration, while I have armor charge, it's going to give me +30 to my recovery stat, meaning I am at 59 instead of 29. You can stack these for diminishing returns. You can also do multiple to help you improve. With the new way that the meta is and the way that these orbs drop, you're pretty much always going to have armor charge active. It's a really good way to kind of supplement, especially if your armor is still lacking. All right. Here in a moment, I'm going to show you the best place and where I like to go personally for the easiest way of farming out high stat armor. The only thing you need are Defiant Ingrams or the current seasonal Ingram type. My personal favorite place to go is the Helm. I'll show you here in just a moment kind of an example of getting this armor and the rolls out from the vendor here. All right, so as long as you have the current seasonal Ingrams, you can go to the seasonal vendors, and as long as you have also done your seasonal stories, you should have most of the upgrades unlocked at the Helm War table. You can go to focusing of the Ingrams, and you can actually focus Defiant armor. We're going to go ahead and do a helmet here. It costs 2 Defiant Ingrams and 2,000 Glimmer. These Ingrams drop from everything. You can run strikes, you can run Defiant Battlegrounds, you can run raids. Everything that you do has a chance of dropping these. Higher end-game content drops 2 at a time, and sometimes even more. As you can see, I got a 61 stat rolled helmet. I am focusing mobility. My drop was 20 mobility and 15 in strength. So as I said, 1 high stat with what I'm focusing, and my next highest is in the opposite 3. To show a further example of this, let's change over to a discipline-focused armor mod and grab another helmet, and we'll see the difference that the stats changed up to with this new helmet. As you can see, this one now has 29 discipline and then 20 mobility. So again, that high stat in the bottom 3 that I focused, and my second highest in the top 3. So now, the other thing, if you were unaware, especially for some of our new light players, as you level up this armor, you can actually go ahead and masterwork it. Masterworking the armor will give you a +2 in all armor categories. All of your stats will receive a bump of 2. Here you can see me spending some materials to go ahead and upgrade that 65 stat roll armor. Once it is masterworked, you're going to see that it goes up to a 77 stat roll, thus changing all of my overall stats without even having a stat modifier slotted into it yet. This is going to open up more opportunities for me to increase in other locations on my armor. I hope all this information has been helpful for you guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more guides and videos for our new light players and just as reminders to even veterans. Again, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.